So, with spring of anime 2025 happening, there is an anime I want you guys to watch. And if you're like slice of life, old country tales, growing up with that stuff, if you did, I know a lot of you haven't now these days, but there is something up here. And this really touched my childhood. And it's like when I found out it was being animated, I was like, wow. When I found it was being reanimated, I was like, even more wow. So this is called Anne Shirley, aka Anne of Green Gables. And this is based off a novel created by someone in Canada, which had a TV show, movie, and even a remake on Netflix, Annie with an E this time. And this was something special for me. Well, not special, but it's something I grew up watching because it was just fun to watch and kind of hilarious and funny. It's one of those old time shows where about some group of kids getting into trouble, learning lessons and stuff like that, and having some serious talks here and there throughout the seasons. So, Anna Green Gables is something I used to watch during the times of Little House on the Prairie, Bonanza, The Rifleman, and probably some others I can't. Beverly Hills Hillbillies, Andy Griffin Show and stuff like that. Um, Grandma's House, or it was called Mama's House. I think it was called Grandma's House. But yeah, it was during those times. You watch those non-cable like shows back in the day where you only really had was 24 channels or some even 12 channels. Yes, 12 channels. It was rough back in the day. Can you imagine a time where there was only like 24, 12 to 24 channels back in the day if you didn't have cable or anything like that? It was nuts. During a time where you can almost see HBO, which was channel 5 for some people where I grew up in, and you can see the static, but you can slowly see the images and the motion pictures of the HBO channel showing. It was like teasing us, like, you want the HBO? And we knew someone who knew how to work TVs back in the day, where TVs were humongous boxes and not flat screens, and they knew how to rig it a bit so you could watch HBO without paying for HBO, but you had to do a certain thing to your TV, and you couldn't move it whatsoever. Yes, it was those days, man. That's what it reminded me. So many childhood memories flooded when I found out about this. However, a while back, like 6 or 8 years ago, I found out that there was an anime of Anna Green Gables made back in the day, and turned out there's all kinds of old school anime that was based off of like European or Canadian novels. Like there's a Snow White anime, by the way, which has 52 episodes. There is, I believe, there's a Tom Sawyer anime. There's a Wizard of Oz anime, and it's really based off the books, not compared to the movies we have. The very famous movie. There's Return to Oz, by the way, but there is a novel which is based off the Wizard of Oz, and it's actually pretty lengthy, and things do happen after the movie. Dorothy returns. Scarecrow becomes ruler for a while, but it gets taken over by a group of girls. There's the other witches, when one of them is holding a child who's actually the true ruler of Oz and stuff. It's nuts. And actually, there was supposed to be a Pippi Longstocking anime as well, but it was canceled. We were wrong because when I saw those images of it, I was like, "Yo, this should have been an anime." And we did have the cartoon, and the cartoon was entertaining, but I believe the anime, believe it or not, would have been more to the adaptation. Because yes, even the anime version of Wizard of Oz was more to the books than the other stuff was. Crazy, right? So there's an Angry Cable anime that happened years ago. And then there was also a manga series. And the manga series actually follows her all the way up until she's an adult and she has a career and everything. It's wild. So when I heard a while back that they're doing a full length anime about it, I was nuts. I didn't care for a Netflix show that much, did. I think my sister did, but I did not. But when I found out about this new anime reboot, I'm like, oh yes. Well, it's more of a remake than a reboot because they're not changing much. They're doing it even better than they did originally, based off the books. So yes, it's a remake. It is wonderful. I saw the first episodes. So the story is about a girl named Anne, who pretty much is an orphan. But however, she is adopted by two siblings, two older siblings, too old to have children, but they need someone to take care of them as they grow up. Yes, people would adopt children back then just to be taken care of back then. Nuts. However, the sister was expecting a boy to come to take care of the work. However, it was a girl, and the brother was too soft-hearted to turn her down and to say anything. So he brings her there, and the sister is not pleased by it. She is completely upset by it and everything, and she kind of breaks the heart of Anne herself because Anne felt like she was finally have a home and she was afraid that she would be rejected or accepted, but she had hopes. But when the sister, in her expression and how she was disappointed, kind of broke her down, which was just messed up. So they allowed her to stay over the night and look for someone else to take care of her. However, the person who wanted to take care of her was a total B word, man. She was terrible. So she said, you know what? I'm going to take you instead. And that's where the adventures began. And learning how to behave, learning the true reality of the world in the small, beautiful meadow of a countryside. She meets other friends and people her age. She even acts too tomboyish for the other people to handle. And she even does a very famous incident, which I believe is going to happen in the next episode. But one episode's out so far. I believe episode 1 drops later on today, or I don't know when the video comes out, so I can't even say that. So yeah, there's that. But anyways, a very famous incident that people remember the show happens where a boy is picking on her, and instead of being like the other girls who just complain or try to ignore it, she turns around and she bashes something on his head, man. I ever seen that scene when I was a kid, like, dang, this girl is wild. And then it's gonna happen again. I read it when I was reading the manga, and I saw it when it was happening in the remake. So I'm like, yeah, we're gonna see it again for the 4th time. It's nuts, right? But anyways, it's a very iconic scene that a lot of people remember from the show because it's something you usually want to see a girl doing back in the day. So it was nuts. But anyways, that's what this is all about, Anna Green Gables. A very coming of age story of a girl growing up in her new her new adoptive home. So making friends and family and learning more about the meaning of life her own way as she grows up. I don't know how far they're going to adapt it, but some people are hoping that they adapt it where she's a child and they do a new season where she's growing up and stuff like that and time passes just like they do in the books. So who knows? We might get that. It seems like a lot of people these days, when it comes to the remakes that they're doing completely based off of the books. And when they do that, it means we're getting everything and stuff like Spice and Wolf. We're finally going to get more continuation of Spice and Wolf after the remake that happened a while back and stuff. We had stuff of Rama and One Half, and probably, who knows, they might remake Inuyasha 2 down the road as well some years later. Anything can happen. But anyways, yes, watch this. I demand you to watch it because this is my childhood. So please do it. So that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, of course, hit that bell icon. This has been Madcrownxox. I'm Anime. Signing out.